Hello everyone. Our today's session is on approaches to educational planning. So in the earlier video we had seen what is educational planning and what are the characteristics of educational planning. So we know that when we are talking about educational planning, we are actually determining the priorities and allocation of resources because we have various requirements and we have limited resources. So what we do is we determine the priorities. So which are the important areas where we need to focus immediately, and accordingly we will allocate the resources. The second important point is mobilization of these necessary resources and their proper use. Now, we will begin with the different approaches which are there for the educational planning. And if we see, then the major approaches which we are going to discuss are social demand approach, manpower approach, and the rate of return approach. So today we are taking the social demand approach to educational planning. Now this social demand approach is based on certain assumptions. Number one, access to every branch and level of education should be available to all those who wish to enter it, provided, of course, they are possessed of the required qualifications, ability, and attainment. So, what does this say? That according to social demand approach, the main important assumption is that all those who want to enter into education should be given a chance. If you want to do your BA, you should be allowed to do. If you want to do your BSc, you should be allowed to do. So only the thing which you are going to see is that they should have a required qualifications, ability, and attainment. Otherwise, you should not be stopped. Like if you are entering into BA, then you should have your 11th and 12th with arts, and whatever percentage is required for your admission, that you should have. So everybody should have an access. So anybody who is sitting outside and who is saying कि मुझे BA करना है, so there should be a seat available for him or her if he has the prerequisite qualifications or he has the ability. And that's why you must have seen that many a times we find that the students have gone for the strike. You know, especially in MS University, we used to see long back when the students do not get the admissions, then they will go on strike and they will say, we who are residing in Baroda and I want to do BSc or BA or BCom and I did not get seat. So they think that it is their what do you say, it is mandatory for them that they should be given a chance or they should be given a seat. It is their right to get a seat. Even if we talk about the school education, if somebody do not get an admission, then we find that they raise their voice and they go to the concerned authority and they say that my child did not get a admission. So this is all on the social demand approach, that everybody who wants to seek education should get the admissions, should get an access to the education. The next assumption is this approach emphasizes that educational facilities should be extended in proportion to the degree they are demanded by the people. So, if you have 100 students demanding for education, then the facility should be extended to those 100 people. If next year there are 1000 people who are coming and want that we want to do the particular course, then you should make available. Like if you have 1000 students who wants to go for medicine, then it is the responsibility of the government to give that facilities to all those 1000 students. So you have to extend that facility. So these are the assumptions of the social demand approach, that if somebody wants to enter into an education, then he should be allowed to get the admission, and the government should provide for the facilities. Treats education as service demand by society just like any other goods and services. So if you are following the social demand approach, so basically we are saying that this is a service which is demanded by a society and you need to provide that service. just like any other goods and services. Like, if you want water, it has to be provided. If it is electricity, it has to be provided. Similarly, here education is also treated as one of the goods and services, and it has to be provided to the people by the government. So these are the three basic assumptions on which the social demand approach is being uh, based. Now, if we see that who favors this approach, as we know that there are various approaches to educational planning, but this approach is being favored by some of the people, like those who support a pessimistic social climate. Like, those who are pessimistic, कि जिसको जो चाहिए दे दिया जाए. Fine. So they are the pessimists. Yeah, everybody who is coming and who is demanding for a particular type of education, they should be given. Fine. So they do not want any chaos. कि तुमको BSc में admission चाहिए, okay, come, I'll give you. You want admission in BE, okay, come. There's a seat available for you, and you go for it. So in this way, those who support pessimistic social climate, who do not want to create a chaos, and who wants that everything should go smoothly. So whatever anybody is demanding, give them. Why to create a chaos? Another, who are attached to traditional cultural values, so who are based on the traditional values, ki whoever wants anything should be given. So the people who believe in these traditional thoughts and the values, that why somebody should be denied of certain things, who work in societies where public opinion has greater influence in decision making. So these are the people who are into the public domain, like the politicians. Fine. So they are the people who are working in the society, and for them the public opinion is of greater importance, because they will be going to them for the voting. So they want to please the people. So if they will please the people, that means they will be voting for them. So these are the people who will favor this kind of social demand approach, ki you make the society happy, you make everybody happy. Like, for example, if we take right now this farmers bill going on, fine, people are opposing. So all those politicians who want the vote, they all went and they stood by the farmers, because they are not bothered whether it is good or bad, whether it is in favor of the farmer or not. They just want to please the farmer. Yes, we stood by you when you were on the this strike, and we were standing by you, so you should vote for me. So for them, this public opinion is more important. They are not thinking about whether it is good or bad. They are just thinking about the public opinion, and they want to influence them, they want to please them. So the social demand approach is favored by the people who are in the public opinion, who are working for the society, and who are dependent on them. Now, if you are following the social demand approach, then there are certain steps you need to follow. So if you want to go by social demand approach of educational planning, then we need to follow these steps. And the steps are demographic forecast. Fine. First, you have the demographic forecast of your society. Estimate the size of age group. Like, suppose if you are talking about the higher education, you find out the age group who are relevant to higher education, like how many people will be there who will be coming for the BA education. So how you will come to know? You will come to know by the people who have now appeared in the 12th class examination. So all those who appeared in the 12th class examination, they will be now coming for the higher education. Suppose if I want to plan about my university, and then you will see that which people appeared for 12th class in that particular year in the city. So those people will only be coming to me as they are residing in this city where my university exists. So I know that this year 14,000 people they said for 12th examination, and now they will be coming for the higher education. If there are 12,000 who has appeared in the science, then they will be coming for the BSc. If there are 20,000 who has set for the commerce field, then this 30,000 will come for the BCom course. So in this way you can have this kind of estimate as per the city wise, as per the state wise, and even at the national level, that these are the people who are going to come for the higher education. So now you need to plan, because you have now, the first step is you have estimated the kind of group which is coming for the higher education. So you are giving the demographic forecast. Now another point is analysis of enrollment. So to estimate what proportions of these age groups are likely to reach the particular level of school living attainments now considered relevant for entry to higher education. So now you are like, there we have discussed that this is the age group which is coming for higher education. Here we will further analyze, like as I said, those who are who have done 12th with commerce, those who have done 12th with arts, and those who have done 12th with science. So we have three different groups, and this will be coming for the higher education. A particular group who did their 12th with commerce will come for BCom, and those who have done their 12th with science will come for BSc, and similarly for the arts. So in this way, here you will analyze the enrollment. Fine. So you are how much enrollment you are expecting for a particular year. Forecast of enrollments. Now to estimate what proportions of those qualified will apply for admission to higher education. Now you have to see that how many of them are going to apply for the admission to higher education. So now you will try to see that you are expecting that all those who cleared this 12th examination with commerce field, we are estimating them to come for the higher education. Those in the science field who have gone with a higher percentage, maybe above 80, they will go for medicine, or they will go for the engineering, and rest below that they will come for this. So now you are estimating what proportions of these people they will come for the admission to higher education. Next, provisions of differentials, IQ and environment. Now you have to make some provision for the children who are going to enter the educational system, because these people will come from different environmental conditions. They will be having different abilities, different IQ level. So you have to make arrangements for such kind of differences in your educational systems. Like you have to make provisions for these children. So provisions for this must also be made in the plan, that they are coming from different environment. So you need to give them the proper kind of conditions which they are needed. If they are having some kind of inherent IQ abilities, so you have to talk about all those kind of differentials. So all this you are going to keep in mind when you are uh, considering your you are planning for the education. And you will also create the provision for the differentials related to socio-economic background. So you need to now, you will also find out that from which the socio-economic background the people are going to come. So that means we do have this SC ST, like this many you make provisions for the SC ST. So that you have to see to it that it should also be necessary that you are taking a due note of the changes in the income distribution among the various economic groups when you are working for the social demand for education. Like we have this we have introduced the admission criteria for those who come from the lower economic background. So we have that reservation based on the economic credentials. So we have to make provisions for all these IQ level, different environment, different social group, and the different economic group which they come to it. So in this way, we saw that social demand approach basically talks about that you are giving access to education to all those who are demanding that education, and this is being considered as one of the basic services which should be given to it. Fine. And we have also seen the steps which we follow where when we are using the social demand approach. That is, we talk about the demographic forecast, analysis of enrollments, forecast of enrollments, and provision of differentials. And in the next video we are going to see about the advantages and disadvantages of this approach.